In our book, Own a Home Cheaper Than Rent, we talk about the housing problem and how house hacking has become a solution to that. Zach, let's have you talk about the problem and the solution.
Yeah, so as we look at it, pre-COVID, you could typically get into a single family house probably in the $300,000 range. Nowadays, you can't get into single families for 300,000. You're probably starting to look at them in the 400 or 500,000 range. And with that, we've just seen prices become significantly elevated, post-COVID. Another reason too we've seen monthly payments go up is because of interest rates. Back during COVID, you could get an interest rate of 2%, 3%, something like that. And post-COVID, we've now seen, well, rates hit the 7s and 8s in 2023. And so that hasn't helped, make it more affordable for a lot of millennials trying to purchase their first home. As we look at wages are getting better year over year as far as, them catching up. But I don't think they're going to catch up quite until 2026. Is kind of from data that I'm seeing. We'll probably start to get there by then. But until then, we're going to start to see that housing just keeps getting more expensive and wages aren't keeping up with it. The other thing we're also seeing is landlords are looking at each of their properties right now saying, you know what, I'm probably undercharging. I could charge an extra $100 to $200 per month because that's probably the going rate on these. And so we're seeing a lot of the landlords kind of pushing that envelope to see, hey, how much can I really get out of this property? And so typically if you're a renter, you've probably been seeing that over the last few years, right? Maybe it moves up $100 the first year, $200 the next, and so on and so forth. But eventually you get sick of that. You say, hey, look, I've really got to take control of my destiny and of my housing expense and get this to where it's a palatable place and it's, consistent. And so that's the biggest thing that we've seen with the ADUs is, you can probably purchase one of those for 450 to 550. And, those payments are coming out probably in that 3,000 to 3,500 range. But by the time we take into account that basement apartment that's usually getting 1,200 to 1,500, it makes the payment so that it's a very palatable payment and makes it so that people aren't putting themselves in a position where they're going to feel house poor.
Yeah, I love it. In a nutshell, there really is a problem. It's hard for a young person who's getting started to afford a house payment. And this is the solution, because if they can put somebody in that accessory dwelling unit, that ADU, have somebody in the basement paying, like you said, 1,200, 13, 14, 1,500. Wow, it makes it so much more affordable to manage that payment and get into the house that they want to get into. So, if this is something that you want to talk more about, your specific situation to see if it would fit, just jump on househackanalysis.com and schedule a time with one of us. We'd be happy to look at your specific situation with you and see if it makes sense. We're going to put together another little video for you here. We'll send in a few days, and that one will talk about Zach's house hack stack, which I know you're going to love, because we're going to talk about the houses that he owns and how he actually did it and what the payments are and what he charges for rent and how all those numbers shake out, which will be really interesting to you. So stay tuned for that in a few days.